What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. The boys are here. We are ready to go. And we had a holiday weekend, and we also had a baby being born. So we took some time off, but now we are back. We are here. We are ready to go. Feeling good, feeling great. Our man's on the other side, We the People Weeps, is still grinding out. So he is not here right now, but he will be back. He will be back. But right now, I believe, is he number 2 again, E?
I believe he's number 3 at the moment. Let me check real quick.
He did get to number 2.
I can get the live update. Point. Yep, he is currently number 3.
He's still grinding. He's still out there. Shout out Weeps. He's still grinding. But yeah, so he's sitting at 3. We have been chilling, feeling good. E, how was your Thanksgiving, my man?
It was good. I had my plans mixed up a little bit, and so we just made the most out of the situation and had a good day. I'm not a huge Thanksgiving guy, never really have been, and so I didn't do anything too crazy. I just spent some extra time with the missus, but got a nice little day in on stream, and that was fun. But yeah, it was good. How about you?
Mine was great. I got a new backdrop for anybody who's watching on the YouTube. You should check it out. New backdrop. It's so awesome. There's so much crazy stuff going on back here. Not really, but I'm just trying to get them to watch the YouTube. But yeah, so we got a new backdrop, moved, and then about 2 days after moving, then the baby was on the way. It was a long time in the hospital. I think I spent almost 3 days in there, and like I went inside and I just did not leave the hospital for like 3 days, which was wild and crazy. But the baby was born healthy, and that's all that matters. And she's chilling in the other room right now, trying to get her sleeping schedule to like normal. But she doesn't fall asleep usually until like 3 or 4 in the morning. And so that's been tough to manage, but we're getting through. We're getting through the best we can. I've got the week off. I've had the last 2 weeks off to like bond and do all that, so that's been good. But she's a blessing so far. She's a wild one. She threw up all over her mom today, which was hilarious to watch, so that was cool. But yeah, she's thriving. She is doing well. Shout out to everybody who sent any like well wishes on Twitter or anything like that. I appreciate it. But yeah, so that was basically it. My Thanksgiving was just kind of spent with the family and her, kind of driving around, everybody meeting her for the first time, which was cool. And yeah, that was basically it. I didn't do anything too crazy, nothing too wild this year, but that's how I was. We got a lot more stuff to talk about, though, as far as Apex Legends goes, boys. We've got a ton. We obviously had the preseason qualifier number 1. We're about to get into it. And then we have some other news with some signings and some teams maybe exiting ALGS, as well as teams being formed. But let's kick it off here with the big one. Team Elevate. We've got E8 Enoch right here chilling. Team Elevate has moved on into Pro League. They are the winners of the very first preseason qualifier. Now, if you guys don't know how preseason qualifiers work, there are 4 of them. If you are to win a preseason qualifier, you are automatically logged in to Pro League going into year 4. There are 4 more spots that will be open to people who have the highest amount of points, but it's always good. Teams always want to win it so they can just focus on the next level, so they can just get all of their mindset to Pro League and focusing on that. So it's always good to win. There's a lot of very solid teams out here, some names that you will be recognizing as we go through each and every week. And each and every week, we're going to be trying to get on a member of the team who won that preseason qualifier, which is why we have E8 Zap on just a little bit later. But Team Elevate, they win. They kicked it off with a win in the finals, immediately starting off hot. I believe they have 2 second places, and I think they had a second place with like 15 kills or something like that. So they were frying throughout that entire situation. But E, what did you see from E8 and moving on into the next level? Where do you see them kind of qualifying when it comes to Pro League itself?
I think they're going to have a good year. I think that this is an incredibly strong team and is one that will really be able to showcase Zach's ability to be an IGL, because I feel like this is probably the best group of players in terms of being able to uh, play together off of his leadership. And I think we've seen that the way that they've been playing recently, especially since they've got Zap, they've been just performing phenomenally well in scrims. And they obviously showed up to this past weekend and showed out. And it was like very, very clear that they were by far like the best team in the lobby, especially from like a team fight perspective. However, I will say the boys at Nine Lives or Nine Lives, what like those dudes are cooking, and I think that that's going to be a team that I wouldn't have said that I was going to think was going to do as well as I thought they did. And I'm definitely that's a team that we should be looking forward to seeing as they perform in the PLQs moving forward. Um, yeah, E8. I mean, they just played phenomenally well, and just from a mechanical perspective, there's not too many teams in that lobby that are going to win a 3v3 against them, and they really capitalized off that. As you'll hear Zap say, like they've been running Bloodhound, and they've really just been running it down on edge. They've been landing the mod. Oh, hard spacing. What's the POI that's right next to mod?
The new one. I forgot what it's called.
Stacks. Mod stacks. So they loot mod stacks, get kitted, and then they just ape the lobby. And so I think they're going to be doing a different strategy going into Pro League. Obviously going to be playing it different with a greater level of competition. But I do think that this is going to be a team that will have a strong showing and I think they're going to make LAN.
Okay. They're making
I'm
LAN.
going to say EA to LAN. 100p.
EA to LAN.
Let's make
there
it
we
happen.
go. Yeah, no, it is interesting with these preseason qualifier lobbies because you can kind of see who are the cream of the crop, like almost immediately. You kind of just notice it. When you're watching it, you can just see who's better. It is interesting to watch though. It's kind of like if you were to watch like a professional league and then you go down to the collegiate league, like it's a lot more chaotic and I wouldn't say it's any worse. It's just more chaotic and lots of different things happen that you wouldn't expect in like a pro league lobby. But you can see who are the best teams at the top. But EA to LAN, definitely a prediction. There's some other teams, the ones you mentioned, Nine Lies, that is AWOP, Dynastied, and Laser. That is the team that they ended the day in finals with a 16 kill win. And they were pretty far up there most of the day. So I would say even if they weren't going to be able to get in with winning, they've got a ton of points already. So they have that going for them. But with one team leaving, with one juggernaut team leaving, there's only so many good ones left, and they've looked like one of those teams so far. So some other ones for people who haven't been watching or paying attention to the preseason qualifiers, because Play Apex doesn't actually broadcast it themselves. It's actually a different channel that they broadcast on. But there is Pen 5, that is Hambino, Chase Mob, and DePressley, which is just Presley. Changed his name to DePressley. Play on words. Interesting. We also have Drop In Gaming. That's Crook, Stunny, and Silent HNL. I don't know. How do I say his name?
Who?
It's just Silent HNL. Is that it?
Silent.
Oh, Silent. Okay, there we go. All right, didn't know. And then the last one that I picked up on was Redeem, with Z Davis, Golden, and another gamer name that's going to be tough for me to say. I believe it's Vosky.
Vosky. Yeah.
So Z Davis we've seen before, Golden we've seen before. We've obviously seen some of those other names before, but those are some teams to be looking out for. I kind of just wrote down the teams that had been kind of hanging around most of the day. Those are the teams I think you're going to be looking at in the next coming weeks. We got 3 more of these, like I said, but E8 with the win here. They are obviously moving on into Pro League. And once again, Zach Mazer, a name that has been around for a while, he is back in the mix. We've got some other news here, Enoch. Moving on into EMEA. A big name team just dropped today. It is Mandy, Shiv, and Zerifer. Mandy and Shiv teaming up together. Comp kind of favors Shiv right now. We always have known Shiv to be the Bangalore god. He's always been playing the Bangalore. So they are joining in today. I did not see the result of how they played today, but I do know that the team was created. They are in there. What do you think of the team? And I know we don't get a whole lot of EMEA exposure until later on in the season, but just from afar, you got to assume they make it through preseason.
It'll be a fun team to watch. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so Shiv and Zerifer were playing with DiffQ as they were bringing back the solo queue goats, and they did play this weekend. And I'm not sure how well they performed. I don't think it was too well, considering the fact that they did then end up parting ways with DiffQ, and then they're now picking up Mandy, which is an absolute. From like a content perspective, it is going to be so much fun to watch Mandy and Shiv playing comp together. And Zerifer is definitely a talented player, so there will be a fun team to watch as we're going to move forward. And equally as fun to watch is going to be the team that DiffQ has put together for the last 3 weeks. Because while we don't pay attention to EMEA or cover it too much this early on, I do think that this is going to be a fun team to watch, as it will be DiffQ, Genji, who's an incredibly talented controller player, and then King Victor. And so King Victor, apparently, this dude apparently signed up to play for these PLQs just with his like IRL friends, and I think they both got like around like 6 kills or something on the day, and that man King Victor dropped 45. 45 playing with your IRL homies. And so he is now on a much different team. Some people are like, okay, this dude's got to be cheating, because I think there were a few people that did in fact get banned while like the PLQs were happening over the weekend. And I'm not sure what the consensus is on whether or not they were false or not. But people were like, is this dude's got to be cheating, dropping like 45, like somebody test this kid. But he's going to be playing with Genji and DiffQ, and so that will be a team that should be fun to watch, and I would say has a strong chance, because that man DiffQ, I think if he has 2 good controller players that he can put in the right spots, they'll find a way to make a way. And so we'll see if King Victor is the real deal, because he could potentially be next up. We will see.
Yeah, if you're the IRL homies, like, what do you even say when your friends just drop?
Dude, you're just like, I'm so
nothing?
happy for you that we were able to do the bare minimum to get you noticed, and now you have a chance to make this.
Yeah, if it's his friends,
story.
Yeah, like if it's his friends, they're just like, hey man, we're just happy to see you grow. Like, we're just happy to see.
I mean, if you're his friends, you got to be like stoked. You got to be like, dude, you guys are gonna be a disgusting team. Like, this is gonna be fun to watch.
When he goes into the eventual Apex Legends Esports Hall of Fame, you guys will be a part of that somehow.
Dude, you'll have whoever those 2 random guys are, they're going to be able to look at this kid and be like, I made you.
Yeah. They can honestly say whatever they want. They can be like, yeah,
I made you.
He wasn't going to drop 45 if I wasn't there. Like, he's good, but if I wasn't there, who knows? Maybe he drops 20 less. You could say that. You could just make that up if you wanted to. So shout out to the IRL homies for that. That's got to feel good. That's got to feel good. But yeah, so it'll be interesting watching that team from afar, both of those teams from afar. And we'll try our best to keep up with the other regions. It's just hard when you've got NA and then you've got the other regions as well. Tons of teams, especially in preseason, because there's so many teams that you have no idea if they're going to make a difference or not. There's a lot of names and a lot of gamer names and a lot of team gamer names, and it just goes deep. It goes deep. But we'll do our best to pay attention to that. Getting on into some more depressing news. 100 Thieves is out of ALGS. This one comes from J-Mails. If you're not following him, you really should be. He's got a lot of the ALGS news. He is a massive insider, just very good at what he does. Gives us some articles, gives us a lot of backstory on what exactly is going on behind the scenes and a lot of these things. Some of it's speculative, obviously, because you're trying to figure out what's going on. But he kind of called 100 Thieves and some other big orgs leaving before they had made it official. So he's on top of it. He is the dude. But basically what's been going on is It's just not they're not even breaking even, and they're not very happy with exactly what's been going on for like ALGS, which a lot of other orgs have expressed as well. This one comes from the article itself from JMails at JMails on Twitter. Disappointment looms as the senior vice president of 100 Thieves, Jacob Malik Anderson, announced today that the organization had concerns participating in the ALGS due to current structure of the league. SVP stated, "We did not want to continue with the ALGS in the way that it was structured. Despite having an undisclosed team ready to be unveiled for the 2024 season, the organization ultimately decided against moving forward, citing that it felt wrong." So 100 Thieves is out. That's another big blow to ALGS amidst heading into year 4. Obviously, not the news that you want to have as somebody who follows along with the league. But what do you got, Enoch? What do you got?
You hate to see it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I think that one day we're going to see it. I definitely think that 100 Thieves will make their way back in Apex at some point, because I do think that the best days of Apex have yet to be had. And yeah, it definitely is a little bit disappointing because I think everybody was getting excited about the potential of them picking up Dojo, and to see that not work out and to see them leave is disappointing. But it is what it is, and Apex will weather the storm.
Yes, like it always has. It does suck. Having those bigger names around is always better. But I kind of agree as well. I could see them making their way back in. I could see a lot of orgs making their way back in with some more recent comments coming from the likes of people like Minus Tempo saying things are actually starting to get a little bit better within the infrastructure. So hopefully we see some of these teams like 100 Thieves make their way back in. Last thing, kind of like a good feel good story before we get into this interview here. His and hers. If you've been around Apex content creation, Apex in general, at all, you're on social media, you know who his and hers are. It is a couple who puts on a lot of tournaments for the Apex community that a lot of different people can participate in. Whether you're a gamer who's not, the best, they have tournaments for that. They have women tournaments. They have all these different tournaments for everybody in the community. There's so many different tournaments. They have been signed by Furia, and that just feels good. Though that is a couple who has been grinding since the beginning. They've been around forever, making content, putting stuff out, helping out the community, always putting on a show. They've finally been signed. They deserve it. They've worked their ass off. They're a perfect example of you got to keep grinding and you got to keep working to eventually get to where you want to be. They have gotten there. Shout out to his and hers for getting signed, and honestly for putting on all these tournaments. That's probably the best part is, obviously there are people who would like to compete even though they are not in a, proper position to, you may not be the best player in the world, but you're able to go and compete somewhere. And then that's not the only tournaments they do. They also have some pretty big tournaments with some big names as well. It just is nice to have somebody else on our side who allows everybody to compete. So shout out to his and hers for getting signed to Furia. Have you ever had any contact with his and hers, Enoch?
Yeah, I've interacted with them a little bit, not too extensively. But yeah, I believe I've definitely played with them on at least one occasion. And I've interacted with them a little bit here and there. It's been cool to see their journey and all of the stuff that they've done within the Apex community. As they've been one of the, I think they've probably put on more tournaments than anybody I could think of, in terms of just creating opportunities for the community to come together and play the game that we all enjoy. And so to see them combine and team up with Furia after they have already put together the his and hers times his Watson women's league that they've done, it seems like a natural fit for them to be moving over and joining Furia. And so it'll be cool to see what they do in the space moving forward.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's just a feel good story. That's what you call his and hers. They are a staple. That's what you like to call a staple in the Apex community because they've been around forever and it's awesome. You can always check out their stream and try to join in on any of those tournaments. Just follow them along on Twitter or follow them along on Twitch. That's where they're at. They're always live. They're always doing something. So shout out his and hers. Congrats to y'all. All right, ladies and gents, let's move into our interview here. This is a little bit of a quicker interview than we normally do. This was just kind of like asking about the preseason tournament and what exactly had gone on with E8, talking to Zap. Obviously, he's a brand new member. Very cool to talk to Zap. So we're going to hit a quick ad, and then on the other side, we'll get into E8 Zap. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We've got, for the first preseason qualifier, Team E8 has advanced, and we have here Zaptoh, member of E8. Zap, my man, how are you feeling? How are you doing? It's got to feel good being able to say that you are going to Pro League.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. I think the best part about it is that we don't have to play the qualifier every week, and like we're so used to playing a different playstyle on these PSQ scrims where we're playing Bloodhound and we're running everything down, and it's not like our Pro League playstyle that we want to play. So now we can just like toss that to the side since we qualified, and we can just focus on like our Pro League playstyle and our POIs that we want.
So what would you say are those like big differences? Because I know that some people, and when I was watching Wig's stream of it last night, Greek brought up a good point of how being able to play in the 4 weeks of qualifiers would give teams like more time to like play together. But yeah, you make an excellent point that the way that you're approaching the PLQs is going to be very different than Pro League. Can you kind of expand on what that really means for you guys?
Yeah, well, for Pro League qualifiers, like we're the best fighting team in the lobby. So
Not even close.
yeah, and we're just playing hard edge with Bloodhound, like just killing any team that we see. But in Pro League, obviously, like you're playing against the best, so you don't want to play like as like hard edge fighting everyone. You want to play like just play your game, play for zone. So for Pro League, we're like trying to do like a flex style, but for Pro League qualifiers, we're just playing hard edge. So that's how it went.
Nice. So do you guys think you mentioned Bloodhound? Is that going to be one of the changes that you guys are going to make? Who do you think is going to fill that spot as you guys approach Pro League?
I think we're just gonna fill it for Cat for Pro League.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most ridiculously strong legends, despite then because like I mean you could nerf that character like 3 more times and still be OP.
Yeah.
In my
still be
opinion.
working.
It's just ridiculous how well that character can hold down areas and just make things just last way longer than they ever should. Like the fact that they didn't change the passive, kind of silly.
Yeah, passives like probably the most broken part about it.
So now, like you said, you guys get to focus on Pro League, and you have a pretty long while before you're going to be able to get into that. And I'm sure you guys are going to be excited to get into it and just chomping at the bit to get going. But now you guys got some time in between. What are some of the things that you as a unit are going to be working on? Maybe some things you guys wanted to work on, parts of your game that you still weren't happy about, even after winning this preseason qualifier.
Well, obviously we still got to fight for our POIs for Pro League, so that'll be happening for like the next 2 months during scrims. We're fighting for Countdown, and we don't know exactly. We've been fighting for Checkpoint against Sweet's team, but we don't know. We might change it up. We don't know. I mean, I forgot the question. I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot.
No, you're good.
You're good.
It was just anything else you guys are planning on working
before he says it again. I just want to say, speaking of the countdown at Sweet's team, bro. I mean, not a countdown. Checkpoint. That 1v3, vile.
Yeah,
vile. What you did to those kids. Who was so it was Sweet, and then who were the other two?
I think it was Nate, and then I think the third was Jim Burton. I think we don't know.
Yeah,
pretty sure it was Jim Burton, so we confirmed it.
All right.
Yeah,
because that was dirty.
Yeah, I think we also got to work on our comms. Like, obviously, just like our synergy as a team. We haven't been playing for long. It's been like 2-3 weeks, so our comms could use a lot of work. Like, comms is probably the most important part about comp, without a doubt. It's just if we can focus on that and like get like on the same page, which should be fun.
You should ask Zach if I've ever talked about him and the team's comms.
Yeah.
Because dude, that yeah, I've been like when from like way back when that's like the biggest thing is like comms will, and like I would say in almost all situations, comms make your survivability just substantially
Yeah.
higher, and the better you can clearly communicate things in as short of time as possible. Especially like in comp, I would say that that's probably one of the biggest difference makers between the teams that are like consistently doing well and then the ones that are like being kind of all over the places is teams consistently communicating.
Yeah, if you can be on the same page with your teammates, on the same mind, like you're going to excel. So if we can get better at that, we'll be a really good fucking team.
So moving into just kind of your start, I was joking a little bit before we started this interview, but you don't even have a Liquipedia page yet. So it's hard to see
Yeah.
kind of like your history, and there's probably a lot of people out there who don't know where you came from, where you started your Apex career. So kind of go through from the beginning how you got into all this, and then how you landed over here with E8 and winning this preseason qualifier.
Yeah, well, so I started playing Apex probably like season 14. I was playing like different PC games. I was on M&K. I played M&K on Apex for a couple months to like March, and then I like people were telling me to switch to roller. Yeah. I played roller my whole life on console, so I've been always talented at it. And then I started like playing TDMs against all the pros, like Amphi, Reeds, like a bunch of the EU pros. And I realized like if I made the swap, I could actually make something out of it. So I made the swap in March, and I started playing CCs. And then I think the biggest thing for me was the tech tourney, because that got my name out there a lot. And then I was playing with Meat Lovers for 3 months maybe, and then I left them, and Zach just hit me up, and he was like, "Would you be on tryout?" Because that's whenever Chaotic left. So I tried out. He said I was a great fit, and then that's just how it's been ever since.
Go back to that. Go back to the tech tourney. I want because there. That's an interesting story. Kind of go back through that tech tourney, how that all came to be, and the result of all that.
Yeah, well, everyone like I wasn't gonna play it originally, but this was like LCQ was coming up. It was like I'd say it's like 2-3 weeks before LCQ. Uh, I had a team in LCQ. Like it was me, them, and Kicks. Their team that was just in this recent PSQ qualifier, and people were telling me to play it. It's like just free publicity, and they said I know I'm better than like most, so I just signed up for it, and then I mean I just won it, and then Tech DM me. He was like, "Do you want to play or not for LCQ?" And I was like, I told him no because I didn't want to like just ditch my friends last minute.
Mhm.
So after LCQ, he hit me up, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." And yeah, that's just how it started. He rated me like after I lost to Verhulst as the final boss, and he rated me, and then like that's how I got my name out there. That's
That's a fair final boss.
Yeah,
That's a solid final boss as far as final bosses go, for sure.
yeah, I was kind of close. It was I think I lost 11-15.
Mm-hmm. No,
That's
that's
pretty
not bad
close.
at all. Because
Yeah,
I would say like the majority of anybody out there who's listening would get clean 15 0'd and it would just not even be remotely close. Like to get like 1v to get like wins on Evan in a 1v1 scenario is not easy, and to
yeah,
be
it's
able to
pretty
do it like
difficult.
11-15 like that, there's probably like few NA pros out there that could do that.
Yeah, not a lot of people can do that.
And so what can we get some insight into your experience at Meat Lovers and how you think that like played into you really coming into your own as a comp player? If that had much of an impact on you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of new players to comp like they don't really know a lot, and their comms are really bad. So Tech like helped me a lot with my comms. He helped me a lot with like my positioning. Like he helped me a lot as a player. definitely. And then I left them, and then like a couple days later, I got the invite from EA from Zaptoh, and I was like, yeah, I'm down. That's just how it's happened. Tech definitely helped me a lot though as a player.
Nice. Yeah, I do remember you had played in scrims, and you had put together a like scrimtage of you just like absolutely just rolling kids, and it wasn't like super close to now, but like it was like far enough away because I think it was when we had like a different team put together, but Zach had tweeted out like, "Oh, you're gonna get poached for sure."
Oh yeah,
And then just like months later, here we are, and then here you guys are now locking down that first qual for Pro League.
yeah. I mean, me and Zach. So I played when Zach was number one grinding. I played a lot with him and Shuby. Like, I'd play. We'd for like 2-3 weeks. We'd crank like 16-hour sessions of just ranked, and then like I think that's how he got to know me as a player. Is because we would just play ranked all day. Me, him, Shub, just 16 hours, and then he went on vacation. Obviously, land happened and stuff, so he took a big break, and then that's how he hit me up.
As far as the relationship between you and Zach, you said Tech had helped you out a lot with just becoming a better comp player. With Zach now, your IGL, how has he helped you out? Like kind of moving into this next chapter.
Uh, he's helped me be more confident in myself. Like on our team for LCQ, me and Zach were entry. So Zach would get in with Bloodhound, I would get in with Horizon, and she would just stay back on Bang. And I say definitely my confidence as a player. Zach's helped me a lot with it, and he's also comms as well. Like we've done a lot of VOD review. Like we VOD review every scrim, everything we do, and like VOD reviewing has definitely helped me as a player a lot too. He's got me into a good habit of doing it.
So you guys VOD review
Okay.
after every scrim session?
Yeah, we VOD review like for an hour after every scrim session.
Nice. And so do you guys think that is something that it is like you guys going the extra mile compared to other teams, or do you think that the majority of teams are like putting in that same level?
Majority teams are definitely putting it at the same level. I say like obviously like teams are assigned to orgs, so they'll put in that much effort. I don't know about like the bottom, like the lower pro league teams, but I know like I think everyone else, it's just mandatory that you put in that effort because for certain plays that you go over, like certain mistakes, you can get all on the same page and say what you should do next time or how can we play this better. It's just better. It's just like what you should do as a professional player.
So moving into everything kind of going forward and going into the next chapter of all of that, it does seem kind of crazy that somebody who just started in season 14 is already finding their way into Pro League. Was this something you always wanted to do, or were you just kind of playing and you just like being competitive, and then all of a sudden here you are?
Yeah, well, I've been competitive like with games my whole life. Like ever since I was like 5, 6, I was playing COD. Like just playing competitive. My older brother was always playing, and me and my little brother always used to play on the same console together. So I've been competitive my whole life. And then I started playing Apex, and I realized that I could get really good. And people were telling me like I could get if I just like commit and like grind my hardest, I can get like really good, like one of the best in a couple months. So I just put my effort into it. Didn't have a job, didn't have anything. I'm only 19, but I just didn't get a job, and I just committed like 5, 6 months into it, and here we are now.
Were you playing Call of Duty before? Were you like trying to do something with Call of Duty before this?
Nah, I stopped playing COD like after like BO3. I
Okay.
haven't. I played like all the older Call of Duties. That's like
Was
all I used
it
to play back in the day.
What was the game before Apex? Was there one that like stood out?
Uh, Rust for sure.
Rust. There you go.
Yeah,
There
I
you
played
go.
a lot of Rust.
Speaking of CODs, the last like few interviews we've had like a ranking of not just CODs, just games that help you get to where you were. But I would like to hear your top 3 CODs.
Uh, BO1's number one. and then MW2 would probably be second, and then I'd have to say like MW3 or BO3 is number three for sure.
Yeah, I think BO3 gets a lot of like disrespect in the community. I actually really liked BO3.
Yeah,
I
BO3
think
is really
BO3 is
well put together game.
yeah, yeah. And then they had the uplink, which was like they added that into the Call of Duty League, I think, too, which was really cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, BO3 should get more respect in the community. Um, I do want to ask that same question that we've been asking the last couple of weeks too, and that one is this usually would come from We the People, but he always likes to ask people, what three games made you who you were today? Doesn't have to be Call of Duty. It can obviously be any games. Anything that made you where you are today as a gamer, what would those three games be?
I'd say Call of Duty first, and then I was playing a bunch of Rainbow on console like 5 years ago, and then I'd say Fortnite for sure. Fortnite, just like if you get really good at Fortnite, it just puts like your mechanical game or your mechanical skill in any game like just up there, because obviously Fortnite's the hardest mechanical game probably to be made. So I'd say definitely those three: COD, Rainbow, and then Fortnite.
Were you M&K on Fortnite?
I was controller for like 2 3 years, and then I switched to MK like on PC when I switched to PC.
Nice.
Now we've talked to Hal about this in the past when we had him on. Obviously, Hal was M&K, switched to controller. He's won at both levels, but he always kind of says that ever since he's made the switch to controller, it's been a lot more boring. But he won't go back because he wants to ensure himself to be the most competitive throughout his career. Right? You said you started off on M&K, and then you switched to
Yep.
controller. Do you kind of feel the same way? Do you feel like it's a little bit more boring, a little bit more monotonous, or do you enjoy it a little bit better being on controller?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely more boring. Like if I wasn't playing competitive, I'd still be on MK, I think. But obviously, like say if I was still on MK, like I'd die to like a good controller player, and I'd be like, most of the time there's really nothing you can do about it. It's just like each game assisted. But then when I switched the controller, like I was able to kill all these players that I would never have been able to. I was pretty good on MK, and I was just never able to kill them like a lot. But then I switched to controller, and I was able to really compete against them. Like it's fun competing on controller, but like playing ranked or pubs or anything else, I think MK would definitely be a lot more fun.
Do you think Apex, like in your perfect world, do you think it should switch to a more M&K dominant game for, just the most, like the best, the highest skill players to really rise to the top, or do you think it's a good mixture of controller and M&K that we got going right now?
Uh, I think aim assist is broke right now, but in my perfect Apex, I think if Apex was MK only, it'd be one of the best games ever made. Just
Really,
because,
all
yeah,
time.
yeah, I think it'd be well. Like you got to think about it. A lot of people from like CS, Val, a lot of good MK players, they won't even touch Apex because of controller. Like they don't want to even touch this game because of aim assist and know it's broken. So they just stay away as a whole. Like obviously controller, like a lot of console players came over because of controller, but I definitely feel like it'd definitely be a lot more bigger if it was MK only, in my opinion.
What would you do to fix aim assist if you could? Like, if there was, if you do you have a perfect fix in mind for it?
I mean, I think just turn off rotational and then like put the values down to point two, because that you the good roller players will still be good, but the ones that crush it a little too much, I don't think they would be as good as they are now.
Right now, it's at point four, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
And then console, it's point six or something like
yeah,
that, something crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's point six on console.
So you'd say point two, and then what was the thing you said before?
Like remove the rotational aim assist factor of aim assist, where like
Okay.
it's like zero millisecond reaction time, like aim assist has. That's probably what the most broken thing about aim assist is right now.
Over
Is
just
that
the actual aim assist itself it's
yeah,
the rotational aspect
because
of it.
you
Yeah.
on MK you physically can't be that reactive. It's like a robot. So definitely removing like or reducing or just something to do with rotational, like nerfing it would be good.
That's interesting. It's always an interesting discussion to get into because I as a controller player myself, sometimes I think, I think it actually would be more fun to watch, to see a lot of M&K players go at it, because you get a lot more of the movement aspect of it as a
Yeah,
watcher. But as somebody who like wants to see everybody else compete, it's like, well, it'd be cool to have some controller players in there. But I do think it's kind of become a little bit overrun at times. Because remember early days when it was like, you had G2 was like an all controller team. That was like a big deal. That was like a
yeah,
huge deal because we hadn't seen something like that before and they were performing well. And then everybody started to switch over. And now it's kind of like dulled it down a little bit.
yeah. I mean, roller's good for the game, obviously, but I feel like if there was a mixture of both worlds where it got nerfed a bit, but I just don't see them nerfing it anytime soon. For at least like 2 years, I don't see them nerfing it because it would hurt their
Yeah,
player
I'd say
base too
that's
much.
fair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like not even close how many more controller players play the game than
yeah,
Yeah. Just
MK.
console alone would make it spike out of control. And then you got all the console players who were on PC. And I think from their aspect too, if it's like EA looking at it and they're looking at dollar signs, they've made a ton of money over the last 2 years alone, and then the two ALGSs alone, um, with more controller players being involved. I don't think that's the reason why. I think the game just stayed popular and got better and better, and other games fell off. So I don't think that's why it got more popular, but I do think that they would look at it and be like, well, more controller players came, we made more money, even though I don't think that's a direct correlation. So yeah, I would agree with that. I think it might take a while before they adjust it. I do think it's weird that console is at 0.6 and then PC is at 0.4. I feel like just make it across
It's
yeah.
the
a tad
board like a
high.
0.4. Yeah,
It's a tad high. Point
it's a
six.
tight. Yeah, a little high up there.
It's crazy to think because I think COD is like 0.7 or something like crazy
Are
like
you
that. I think it's like crazy high or
dude?
something.
Because I know people have talked about like COD aim assist being like crazy.
Yeah, I think COD's definitely has the most broken aim assist.
That's insane.
That's a tough game to be an MK
0.7?
player. At
I
least the
think
time to
I
kill
could I
is
could be lying,
nothing.
but I think that's what I've heard about it. It could be less, but it's definitely way like stickier than Apex. It's
Interesting.
definitely up there. Yeah.
That's interesting. E, did you have anything?
Yeah, so you guys have 2 months before Pro League. What is your plan to like keep the boys locked, keep the boys engaged, so that way you guys can come into Pro League in the best shape possible?
Uh, I mean, just having a healthy schedule, healthy routine. Like we're hopping on like an hour, 2 hours before, getting some TDMs in for scrims, and then we're scrimming, and then we're having like a good hour sesh of like VOD review of those scrims every day. I think as long as we stay consistent and healthy, like about our practice, I think we'll do really well.
Do you do
Solid
anything
stuff.
outside of the game to like help out? I know TSM has talked about they all go to the gym together and stuff like that. I know it may not be, you guys might not be regionally in the same place, but do you guys try to do anything on the outside to make sure you keep like a healthy mindset, healthy body, any of that type of stuff, or is it mostly just a schedule within the game?
Well, individually, I like take cold showers. Obviously, there's like science behind it. It helps you stay awake, be healthier. I don't know about them, but we don't like as a team. We don't do anything outside the game that gives us in like a good. That just keeps us healthy. But I know like individually, we all do stuff.
Yeah. Enoch's a big advocate of the cold shower thing as well.
Yeah, I'm a big
Yeah.
advocate of it too.
Anything else for you like personally other than in the cold shower? Like is there even in game, I'd like to know, is there anything that you do before you guys play together that you try to work on in your own individual game?
I say TDMing. We use TDMs to warm up our comms before we play. Like we'll TDM for like 40 minutes an hour before scrims or before like game day. Like this PSQ, we do it like an hour before, hour and a half before we'd play, and we just warm up our comms. Like I think our if when we don't warm up before like our comms or anything, like our first two games of scrims or whatever, I feel like we're kind of just like warming up our comms, warming up as it's like a team trying to get synchronized. But if we do that, like warm up our comms like an hour before, we like go in hot. So I think that's definitely like the biggest thing is our comms. We work on that before we play.
Nice. E, do you have any other ones?
Yeah, I'll rip the question I ask everybody who comes on, because everybody who comes on the pod is performing in the top 1% in the field that they are pursuing, and you definitely fit the bill for that. And so, what has been one thing that you've learned that you would be able to share with somebody who, regardless of what it was that they were trying to reach the top 1% in, what's something you've learned on your journey to it that would help somebody else along their journey?
Uh, I mean, just staying consistent. I think consistency is like the most important thing. Just like as long as you're playing consistent and you're doing what you want consistently. Like say you're trying to become good at baseball, you're hitting the cage 5 days a week. You take a week off, obviously your skills are going to diminish. So it's like if you're just doing it consistently, you'll excel at whatever you do.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Awesome.
I got one last question from me before we move on. I would like to know where you stand with the composition right now in Pro League. Obviously, you guys were using something else for preseason because the lobbies are different, everything's different. But as
Yeah.
far as like when you're going up against the best of the best, has there been like do you wish that things were a little bit different? Like if you could have your own version of a comp, what would it be? Or even if you like this one, does this one resonate with you whatsoever?
Uh, I personally don't like it just because there's like so much visual clutter. You're not seeing what's going on half the time. And plus, with abusing digis with bang, I don't think it's healthy for the game because it's just like you can't really do anything about it. So, I mean, if there's like a way to rework digis, or if there's like just a way to just remove them from the game, I think that would be good for the comp. Like, I think this meta, it's okay, but I think digi is definitely the biggest problem with this meta at the moment.
Is there any comp you'd like to see if you could create one? What would you have?
Uh, Probably like I say Horizon, Wraith, and then like Watson. I think that's a pretty good like composition. Just like I don't know anything that's like as least visual clutter that you can get. I think that's good for the game.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. There we go. All right, man. Well, Zap, congratulations, first of all. Congratulations for getting in.
Thank
We'll
you.
be keeping a close eye. Obviously, we have somebody who's on the squad with you guys as a content creator. We
Yeah,
got E8 Enoch right here. So we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on you guys and watching from afar. But congratulations on moving on. And your
thank you.
career, although it's very short right now, it hasn't been going on a very long time. We're excited to see how you perform the rest of the way through, and we'll be keeping a close eye, man. So thanks for hopping on the pod. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me
man.
on. I think we have a high chance of making land this year. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Let's
excited for
go.
that.
Okay.
I'm excited for
I love
that.
to see it.
Let's put a percentage on it. Where's your percentage at?
I got 85%.
85. There we go.
Yeah.
I'll say
I like
I
100.
it.
mean, we're like
I'll say
so
100.
yeah. I mean, like the last week, even though it's just scrims, yeah, but it plays different than the actual tourney. I think we have like a 9 average in pro league scrims, which is like for us only playing 2 weeks and we have 2 more months to work on whatever we need to do. And we've been conned like more than 70% of the time we've played the pro league scrims. I say that's pretty good. It's like having we've had a couple top threes, but like I think our lowest placement hasn't been that bad. So it's like I'm excited for what we can do in the next 2 months.
There we go. There we go, man. Well, ladies and gents, Zap, thanks for hopping on. We'll catch you next time, man.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, that was Zap. Shout out to Zap for hopping on. We're going to get straight into the heart to heart here. Ladies and gents, it is heart to heart time. E, you got one for me?
Yeah, you got it first. That's all you, big doggy.
All right.
I wouldn't
All
want to.
right.
I wouldn't want to ruin the tradition of you going first on the
Yeah.
when it's just me and you. You
Yeah.
know.
You got to keep it
I
going.
mean,
You
when
gotta
it,
keep
when
it going.
something is working, like if it, you don't fix it if it's not broken.
Exactly. Exactly. Heart to heart this week. Just very thankful for friends and family. Very thankful. You know what? I'm very thankful for my fiance, the mother of my children. She is a baller. She just balls out. So she went without sleep for a good long while, and my body, according to her, at some point I just like basically pseudo passed out because I was so tired. And and she just kept trucking, and she's just able to do it all. She's great at everything. I crumble. I need sleep. I'll just fall over, I guess, apparently, according to her. She was saying at one point, like, I was trying to help her out with something, and then she like grabbed the baby, and then I just like went and slumped into a corner, and then she was like, "Are you good?" And then I just stood up like nothing happened. Um, that's how I deal with it. She's just a rock star, and she can keep going. But yeah, like I said, it hasn't been. It's a newborn, so it's not the easiest thing at first. But she's able to get all the tasks done throughout the day. Um, get her to sleep, because whenever I try to get her to sleep, I'm just not good at it, I guess. And then she gets her to sleep, wakes up early, gets the other one to school, and then is back ready to go, chilling, hanging, always moving, always on top of it. So she's a rock star. So that was my heart to heart that this week. My fiance, Caitlin, shout out to her. E, your heart to heart.
Uh, yeah, I'm grateful. I feel like I'm at a place where I'm settling in and starting to figuring out a nice like consistent schedule that I could realistically keep and succeed in and strive in, and managing to fit in all of the different things into my day that I want to have there. And so that's been exciting, and it's been nice and fun on the growth to just consistently be able to get on and hang out with people who I enjoy hanging out with, and create like a nice positive atmosphere where we can strive to do the best to like having a positive impact on as many people as I can throughout the day. And that's certainly something that I'm incredibly thankful for, and I'm looking forward to continuing to do moving forward. And it's just I'm enjoying the journey, and it's fun, and I'm thankful, and I know that it's like it's so hard to balance the idea of thinking about how like all of the different things that I want to achieve and accomplish and do in my life, um and to not get caught up spending so much time thinking about like when I'm going to be doing all of that, and not being as appreciative and enjoying each step of the journey along the way, like knowing that it's all going to happen. And so yeah, just focusing on enjoying the journey uh as much as I can, and it's been good.
So I know you said earlier you didn't celebrate like Thanksgiving like too heavy. Do you eat any Thanksgiving food, or do you have like different food?
I'm not like a big like I've never been like a huge turkey guy. Like I think it's like pretty meh as far as like stuff goes. I've never been like a big thing. I'm a recovering picky eater, and so I
Uh-huh.
was never a big side guy. Wasn't really a big fan of too many of them, and so then typically my favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving was uh, when I was older. My dad started making steaks because he knew I enjoyed that better than turkey, and he was like, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
And so then we would do like I'd get a steak on Thanksgiving instead of the turkey, and I'm pretty sure we still had turkey, just because I think some people wanted it, but definitely like I mean, come on, why would you eat turkey
Dude, I kind of like it.
when you could go
I
with
actually
steak?
like it, dude. My body for whatever reason can't handle
Mhm.
steak. Every time I have steak, it just messes up. We eat a lot of chicken, a lot of turkey in this household.
Okay,
But
I see
turkey,
you.
it has to be done correctly. Like the floor on turkey is
Big
terrible.
birdhouse.
Yeah. Like the floor on turkey sucks. It has a decent ceiling, but the floor, like if it's a bad it's bad. It's real bad. So that's the shitty part about Thanksgiving is if you do enjoy turkey, but you go to a place where it's not done right, it could ruin it. It could ruin it. It could just send it tumbling down. So yeah, I get what you're saying though. I've actually heard a lot more people doing steaks and ham for Thanksgiving than turkeys.
Oh, ham is an absolute L.
You don't like ham either?
I It's just not food.
Yeah.
It's just not food,
Damn.
dude. Hey, if you look at it, I mean, like religious points aside, if you look at ham scientifically, it is like It is not good. It is like the most highly like parasitic meat
Meat.
that people eat. Oh, dude, I mean, pigs eat like if you look at like the living conditions of like pigs, like naturally, it's like pretty dog shit. Then
So
you
you
look
don't
at
even like
then you
bacon?
look at the living conditions of pigs in like the industrial farming complex. It is, I mean, like everything about the creature is disgusting.
I do
It's
think
like
that
a, yeah, I mean, like think about like, I mean, a pig is like it like eats garbage. Like
yeah.
that's like the point of it existing is that it like eats garbage and it cleans environments because I mean, through eating shit. Like it
Yeah.
eats shit, and then you
Yeah.
eat it. It's like the same thing as like shrimp and shit. Like they actually like
So you
shrimp
don't you
like
want to eat
eat they
shrimp
eat
either?
shit. No, it's all like it's all shit. Like it's not food. Like I don't even like consider it to be food.
I
Like just
actually
because
think
like dog shit is edible, right?
is
It's
it?
edible. Dog shit. Like it's something that somebody could take dog shit, put it in their mouth and eat it.
And eat it and
And
you'd
I
be
don't think they'd
fine?
die. I mean, I'm sure you'd feel like shit. But like I would say
You
like
just ate
just
it.
because like that's possible like that's how I view ham. Like I view ham as being equivalent to dog shit.
Anything on a pig, you wouldn't eat it?
No.
Damn. Not even bacon though.
Nope.
Damn.
Turkey bacon or beef bacon? Fire. Pig
What about
bacon? I mean, it's like it might taste good, but it's like it's awful. Like in terms of like its impact on your body. I mean,
what
just
about
like do like a little bit of research on it. It's no go,
what
no
about
fly
black
zone.
forest ham like the sandwich meat?
Yeah,
No?
it's a no go
Nothing?
zone for me.
Nothing.
I mean,
No,
it's still
okay.
dog shit. Still
Yeah.
dog shit.
Okay. Okay, so like I do think for these episodes where it's me and you, I would
Mm-hmm.
love to go down a conspiracy. Listen, Apex is awesome. It's great. But I've known you to be somebody who will delve into the conspiracies. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we're just sitting on a gold mine of not getting your thoughts out about certain conspiracies
I
in the
mean,
midst
yeah,
of no
we can
ALGS stuff happening.
we can put a little fun
Like
little
what if
bit
I
here and there. We can break some things down.
like if I were to say a random thing right now, I just want to hear just a quick thought on I'm going to think of a random thing, mermaids.
I would say they're real.
You'd say they're real.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then this time next week, I want to talk. I want to hear the
We
evidence
want to
for
get into like a
mermaids.
breakdown.
I
Okay, we
want,
can do a
I want a
breakdown on Little
breakdown
Mermaid action.
because if all we're gonna have is the preseason qualifiers, right,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing else, unless something blows up, like Sweet joins TSM or something, then like I want to talk mermaids on the back end of the show,
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
we can provide more value to these listeners who are tuning in right now. Because I would say I'm historically not a conspiracy guy, but not because I don't think that they're real. It's just nothing. I don't really like dive into them. You know, like I just don't go deep into them.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
if
we can
somebody
each have a
like
topic. We'll each do like a little bit of homework, and then we can come back and we can break it down.
okay, so this week you want to do mermaids then?
Mermaids, yeah,
We'll
we
do
can do
mermaids.
mermaid. That's a pretty non-offensive, pretty
Yeah.
like yeah, not super controversial.
There's definitely
Like,
some
there's
offensive
definitely
ones.
some things that we could talk about that like people are not going to be happy.
Okay, well, what if we did like older political ones, like JFK? I don't think anybody would be offended by JFK now, right?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Like it's an older
Well,
political
it
one.
depends on how deep you go.
Okay, so it
It
could
depends
go,
on how deep you go.
Okay, all right.
I'm just going to keep it a buck.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I think it provides value.
Yeah,
You know,
it could be fun.
I would love to hear what the listeners have to think. If you guys would like to hear us go down some rabbit, another one that comes to mind for me. This is one that I do believe. Megalodon. I think Megalodon is still alive. I think there's still a gigantic sea creature down below, deep in the ocean, that is real. I
The
actually
majority
started
of
a
the oceans have
podcast
not been
explored.
like,
Right?
explored.
Yeah. I had a podcast called Megalodon is Real. For I only think I did 2 episodes of it where it was just me by myself and I was just talking about dumb stuff like conspiracy stuff, but mostly about Megalodon. That one I want to talk about. We'll do that one after mermaids, but this week we'll do
Sounds
mermaids.
good.
There we go. I'm excited. I'm pumped. Okay, ladies and gents, that should just about do it for this week's episode of the Apex Podcast. I do want to hear what you guys have to think about the conspiracies because I would like to get into it. I would like to get into some of that. Is that something you're interested in? Even if it's not, we'll probably still do it. But I would like to hear some conspiracies from your perspective that you guys would like to hear us talk about. Anyway, once again, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, shout out to Zap for hopping on the pod. Next week we'll have another member, hopefully, most likely, from a team winning the preseason qualifier in week number 2. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex Podcast. See you.